greatness. I am Shannon Rice-Muruli, and you are watching Fire Her TV, the place to be for women like you who are interested in learning from other successful women, and on occasion some men, regarding professional success and how they terminated those self-sabotaging habits and beliefs that try to hold them back from turning their dream into reality. Now, I have a question for you. If you are that woman who is interested in, say, starting a new venture or becoming an entrepreneur, have you thought about how important your personal brand will be to the startup process? Or possibly how you'll gain credibility, being that you may have just a small or little to none book of business. Joining me today are two powerhouse realtors, Courtney Dunn and Crystal Gonzalez. And I tell you, these two women know a thing or two about those two questions and more. So let's hop on over and join the conversation.
It comes down to, every day, whatever it is that you're doing, and whether it's you're at the grocery store, you're at a meeting, you're on a sales call, you always have to keep in mind whatever image that you are trying to emulate and put out there in the world. You constantly have to reinforce that, and credibility is huge. That's everything. And if people don't trust you to do what you say you're going to do on the small things, they're definitely not going to trust you on the large scale items and the things that are important to them. So we really have to, we always make sure that we're mindful of what we're doing on a daily basis, whether it's 10 o'clock at night or it's 7:30 in the morning. We're constantly reinforcing the image that we're putting out there, which is we are real estate experts, and we're business savvy women, and we have a business that we are out there working for and supporting, and we care about our clients and their needs.
Absolutely, and you touched on, credibility. And for a woman who's just starting out, what kind of advice would you give in terms of how she can build credibility, even though she hasn't really built a big book of business?
I would say knowing your craft and knowing it well. Being an expert in your field or industry, reading up on it, networking in that circle, finding a mentor, aligning yourself with a mentor.
And you just have to be a constant student of what you decide to,
embrace.
Create, make your livelihood or build your livelihood off of. And you have to understand, which is something I learned every single day, is with our business, we're never going to know every single thing there is to, there's just something new that you learn every day, which I think that's the fun part. And you have to be open to, meeting people and being accepting to people who are much smarter than you are at whatever you do, and welcome them into having them in your life, as well as what Courtney touched on, having a mentor. And in saying that, people think, oh, well, I'll just go talk to this person and they'll be my mentor. It's almost the same as finding a business partner.
Yes.
It's, you create this trusting relationship with your mentor, and you meet with them, whether it's for 5 minutes a month or it's, you have a regular meeting and you talk and you pick their brain, and there's a great trust relationship, but you learn so much from having a mentor.
Yeah, and it's a lot of listening.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest key. A lot of listening and being willing to ask questions.
Yes.
Because
the right questions.
And the right questions. And also asking the right people.
Yeah.
Because you want to make sure that the answers are the good answers.
Absolutely.
So you want to be guided in the right direction.
Now, Crystal, you also spoke about, I'm really loving this topic here, you talked about creativity. What is like one or two tips that if someone was interested in the real estate market or any other, entrepreneurial opportunity, what could be a creative way that they could, look into exposing their craft or their business?
Well, for Courtney and I, we really love design. It's not something we do professionally, but man, we have some great friends who are just amazing.
We can recognize good design.
Yeah, we can recognize good design, and we can recognize, really beautiful architecture. And so that's our thing, and that's what we offer to our clients. We have a lot of clients who just, it's not that they don't want to have the vision for this great house, they just can't see it. And it really helps our business when they can't, because we can, and we can, help them through that. So I think finding, the one way you can really truly learn to love what you do is to tie in other things that you love as well to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And people can see it, and then then they want to be a part of it, and they want to work with you. So I hope I answered that in the best way that I could, in the sense of, one way I've gotten in the door is, my clients love our design aspect and kind of how we think about things and kind of how we see interiors, and so that's what's worked for us. I have other clients that I have, there's other agents that I'm, really great friends with, that they're numbers people, and, they deal a lot, with these analytical clients, that they're just number crunchers, and they just want to know, where does this make sense here? And those are the people that they deal really well with.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of, sort of being parallel with just what other things you're really good at, and then bringing it into your business with you.
Yeah, and building on that, I would say creative ways to really kind of begin your, branding yourself in that industry. Networking groups, always take advantage of those. Nonprofits, if there's a way that you can volunteer, if you are working to be a website designer, volunteer for, small businesses. There's lots of nonprofits that help small businesses get started, or volunteer for, a Ronald McDonald House, or, any great small charity that might need help with revamping their website. And then social networking. I mean, there's so many things. You can start a Pinterest page and start getting followers that maybe your thing is, makeup and hair, whatever it is. There's so many different avenues, but you just want to always be creative, always be looking for something different, and watch the people that you emulate to be.
Exactly.
Watch what they're doing, because you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And that's something Crystal and I always say. We're not the first women in real estate. There were Ebony Holiday and Virginia Cook way before us. So, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to watch what the successful people are doing and start doing it yourself.
That's very good advice.
And one of the best things, I'm sure, which a million people have heard over a million times, but it's something that's always stuck with me, is to be really successful at what you want to do, you have to do all the things that other people are
not
too
willing
lazy to do. They
don't
want to get up early to do this. They don't want to write that handwritten note. They don't want to, and sometimes just even going back to the basics of just the basics of traditional, just being kind.
Gratitude.
And just doing the basics of business, you'll be surprised how many people don't do that.
I think because they're more so focused on the shiny object and the glamour behind it all.
Right.
All the time it's not that glamorous.
There's a lot of sweat.
There's a lot of sweat.
There's a lot of unpretty stuff that goes on.
As much as it sounds so glamorous, that's one thing to really, starting your own business in the beginning, we're yet to see the glamorous part.
Putting up signs in the mud, and there's so many things that we do that are not glamorous. So, but that's part of it.
Just being relentless, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do you do when they say no? I know for me that was kind of like my biggest thing, and it was going along the lines of fear or rejection, and they're telling me no, and sometimes I did take it personally. And some of the women out there who are looking, they may be like, oh my gosh, I do have this amazing product or service, but when they tell them no, they really don't know how to come back from that, what some people may say a setback. And that can cause procrastination, not really taking action. So what do you all do in that situation when you first started? Like, how did that no thing impact you?
Has anyone said no to you?
Oh, yeah.
I was about to say, oh God, this is the miracle work over here.
I think, which I still have so much more of my career to go, but early on in my career, I had to learn how to take no, because I sold radio for 6 years, and I was selling air. I couldn't show, I had nothing to show them. So I had to convince these people to spend, $400 for 60 seconds, and I had nothing to show them that it would work or not work. So learning how to hear no, became a norm. And now it's different, sometimes we're told no when we're up against someone for, listings or whatnot, and I think that you just have to grow from it. If you aren't willing to be told no, you're not ready to be in business for yourself. And that's what it boils down to. You're not ready to be in business, because that's just a piece of the machine.
Yeah.
There's so many more moving parts than just the being told no. So, that's just sort of, you've got to grow from it.
Mhm.
You know, being told no is good for your business because you
Exactly.
got to learn why was I told no.
Yeah.
And you've got to learn that for different
Yeah.
mistakes.
And I did a lot of fundraising. My background was asking for free money. I mean, that's a pretty tough sell. You know, I'm not going to give you anything, but I want you to give me your money.
Exactly.
So, you know, you do hear no a lot, but you know, you always are. You have to be mindful of the times that you heard yes. So you want to remember your victories, but you don't want to thrive on just remembering those past victories because you want victories every day. But you know, you want to say, okay, what was it that I could have done differently? Don't dwell on it. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You know, just take the lesson and move forward and implement that lesson.
Exactly.
You know, don't just say what could have done. Oh, I guess I could have arrived 15 minutes earlier and read up on this business a few more minutes. You actually do it next time.
Right.
And chances are
You
you'll
make a
hear no.
difference.
Yeah, you'll hear no less and less, but you'll still hear no.
I think one of the things that kind of helped me, especially with what I'm doing right now, is I truly believe that women need what I have.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there are so many women out there who have that gift and that talent, but there's, you know, a part of them that's holding them back, whether it's fear or sabotaging themselves with bad habits and negative ways of thinking. So I truly believe I have something that people need. So I think that is what helped me get past.
Yeah. Well, you have to believe in your product, whatever it is, and yourself. And
Exactly.
you know, someone could say no or not now, but that doesn't mean that you don't have an incredible gift to share or a great message.
And if nobody in business was used to being told no, then I mean we'd all be wealthy and everybody would be in business for themselves.
Exactly.
It's hard.
It's hard.
You know, it's hard, and like I said, that's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Being told no.
Wow, thank you, Courtney and Crystal, for such great insight. Now, after you've watched and you've listened and you've identified that you are that woman who is on her dream entrepreneurial journey, did you take a second and really ingest the information that Courtney and Crystal shared? Like, are you going to be willing to do what others are not willing to do so that you can see your dreams come true? Are you going to be ready to be told no? Listen, you are going to be creating and developing products and services, and say you put it in front of your first 100 to 200 people and all of them say no or they're not interested. What will you do? Will you secretly go into hiding because you feel so rejected? Will you just absolutely stop taking action? Well, here are two things you can do today. First, go ahead and download your Fire Her free coaching action guide, which is based on the mentoring conversation between Courtney and Crystal, so that you can put what they shared and what you learned into action. Second thing you can do is subscribe. Just enter your name and email at the bottom of this page so you'll get the final continued conversation between our guests, where you'll learn what they did to fire her, that part of them that was trying to hold them back from turning their dreams into reality. Not to mention, you'll get all the future interviews that we have, which are emailed out 2 to 3 times a month. So go ahead and enter your name and email. Again, I am Shannon Rice-Muruli, and I hope that you found all of the information that was shared in our mentoring conversation today valuable. If so, just please let me know. Go ahead and leave a comment. Your perspective is welcomed, and share on social media to introduce this amazing information to a woman who may not be a part of Team Fire Her just yet. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember to fire her daily so that you can turn your dreams into reality.